Gisteren vond een bijzondere dialoogsessie en interactieve workshop plaats, georganiseerd door de Surinaamse Vereniging van Journalisten, in samenwerking met een delegatie van de Inter-Amerikaanse Commissie voor de Rechten van de Mens. Centraal stond het Ricky Singh initiatief voor journalistiek excellence in the Americans, met aandacht voor journalistieke kwaliteit, geloofwaardigheid, onafhankelijkheid, redactionele transparantie en maatschappelijke verantwoordelijkheid. Tijdens de bijeenkomst was er ook gelegenheid voor journalisten en andere aanwezigen om vragen te stellen en in gesprek te gaan met de delegatie. Verder gaf de speciaal rapporteur voor de vrijheid van meningsuiting, de heer Pedro Vaca Villaril, het volgende aan.
Today, we would like to share a couple of main ideas. The first one is to share with you that the office is an office available for journalists in the hemisphere. That your concerns are our concerns, that part of our role is to monitor and report to the Assembly of the OAS through our reports what we monitored in 35 countries in the region, including Suriname. So Surinamese journalism, it's relevant to us, and this kind of academic visits, it's also a good opportunity to reinforce that commitment and to build bridges between our work and the challenges you face in a daily basis. The second thing is what is in the slide behind me. And as we are among people that like to tell stories, I would like to tell mine. I started in office in October 2020. And one of the things that I had to do is to present a triennial plan to the Inter-American Commission, so my view on freedom of expression in the region. When my mandate got renewed in 2023, I presented a second triennial plan. In that second triennial plan, through several consultations, one of the key concerns in the hemisphere was about the unbalanced power between the lack of credibility of some media houses, including journalism. I think it's a fact that if we compare the last 20 years, the trust of society in journalism is decreasing. And I think that is something that is good to talk about that, and some factors could influence that. I think there is an erosion, a generalized erosion of the guarantees. When we have politicians blaming, labeling journalists, saying, targeting, denigrating about journalism, that's something that has a real impact in the perspective, in the atmosphere to exercise journalism, and also in the way societies look at journalism. So we have to be very careful with that. But then we have also to recognize the challenge that to preserve quality journalism is itself a challenge. Is itself something that we have to work on. And it's not a good time, it's not easy for journalists to have that in mind now. When we think about the mentoring processes of editors 15 years ago, the learning process, journalism used to be a collective sport, if I may use the comparison. There were, at that time, let's say, enough resources to support that community. No? The young journalists with mature journalists, coverage, editorial conversations. Digital landscape, digital environment is stimulating content production and reproduction more as an individual skill. So you're an influencer, a very individual role. And in that path, the collective side, the collective knowledge, it could be missed or dismissed or hidden. And that's where last year, in early July 2025, we registered that Ricky Singh died in Barbados. I have to admit that at that time I was not close to his story. And former Commissioner Roberta Clark from Barbados had a call with me, and she said, a really good man, a giant, passed away. And I got curious, and through his story, through his brave, through his courage, I certainly identified someone to look at and to be inspired about. So that's where the Ricky Singh initiative started to take a form, no? Then we think that when we are inspired by Ricky Singh's legacy, we also are talking about very current challenges of journalism. To be fearless, to think about the role of the society, the role of journalism in society, public interest information, how to scrutinize power for the public service, not for simply attacking someone. I mean, and that's a corner in which we started to call and identify prominent journalists from the region. Jmahani said before that she was with us in Panama, and we were proud to have her there among around other 20 journalists from the region. And at that time we had like a draft, like a baseline of what's the status of media quality nowadays. This it's aimed to be complementary to what schools of journalism do. This is something that does not pretend to be a code at all. It's more like an excuse for a conversation. And at the end, I think is how this office gather in good faith the best of our journalism in the hemisphere to deliver something back that could stimulate the conversation on quality of journalism.